Hello, my name is Luke Dunn, and for my Monarch service project, I was paired with a group, and our assignment as our project was to assist with gardening work at Texas A&M Gardens behind the Ag Life and Sciences building, um, with the provided instruction of gardening staff. For example, our main task for the project was to pull weeds and pick up trash around the areas. Michelle Abney is the Texas A&M Gardens education coordinator who was our main contact for the project. She helped us a lot get in touch with the gardening staff um, and just helped provide us with a good amount of history and understanding of the importance of the garden, so we understood just how exactly our help was being used and what exactly it was helping plant life and wildlife wise. The group members were myself, Luke Weitzel, Keller Graff, Lauren Bradley, Shay Green, Walker Lavercombe, and Weston Wilkinson. In regards to our goals as a group, our short-term goal and what was told of us to do was to do our best to remove weeds and invasive plants from within the garden areas. There are a lot of different themed areas, such as the maroon and white themed area, the vegetable gardens with the grapevines and tomatoes. And a common weed that we were finding and pulling out of the ground was the ragweed. We filled about 10 to 15 buckets with that, with a total of 8 hours of work for each person within the group. Our midterm goal kind of coincides with our short-term goal, and it's that to allow the future growth of wildflowers and desired plants. Because of our actions, there are a lot of desired wildflowers and plants such as bluebonnets that people want in the gardens, and with the removal of said weeds, it allows more room for plants and insects that are beneficial to the garden. And our long-term goal coincided with providing gardening maintenance when needed that will help ensure the success of the plants and garden itself as a whole. So in the long term, if we can allow ourselves and allow others to come out and help in these sort of ways with removing invasive species, we allow the emergence of aesthetically pleasing plants, beneficial plants to our ecosystem, and we provide more area for the insects and animals that help these plants develop and become pollinated. Our project as a whole did not include a lot of data collecting besides observing the amount of weeds that were pulled and the hours of each person when and how long they were in the gardens working with the on-site staff. So for our plans, we just decided to utilize a Google spreadsheet for documenting times and amount of time worked, and it was shared with the whole group so they could put in when they went out there, and this spreadsheet was then viewed and deemed accurate by the gardening staff that we worked with. We also created a GroupMe for proper communication between members. We all had mobile phones, so it was easy to communicate through that social media app and send pictures in and discuss times of due date assignments and when to go out to the gardens. And then we also utilized good communication with on-staff gardeners to receive tasks each day, which helped a lot with knowing what to do and if we were pulling the right plants or if we were working in the right areas, because there's a lot of plants and trees out there that don't need to be tampered with or messed around. So when we first talked to Miss Michelle Abney, she had us meet out with the gardening staff and one of the directors from the horticulture department here at Texas A&M, and he kind of took us around the garden and gave us working gloves and showed us about the weeds and told us about the ragweeds that we would be needing to pull, so we knew we were not pulling seedlings of wildflowers or any other plant that the garden desired. He showed us the rose gardens and the large post oaks of the garden, and he talked about how the post oaks had no fencing around them, and they had no weed clearing or any sort of special treatment because they were so delicate and fragile, and it needed to stay that way. So we tried to do our best to stay away from the large post oak that is about 400 years old. He took us through each section of the garden, which had different themes and different importances. So there was an area that was dedicated to South Texas and Mexican culture, with architecture and plants that coincided with that area, such as the Mexican palm trees and the prickly pear cactus. He told us about how difficult it is in the College Station area to grow plants and wildlife because of the high sodium rich water. So he explained to us that a while back, a group of students and teachers here at the horticulture department of Texas A&M devised a plan to put a layer of sand in between the grass and the underground, so the sand could absorb that sodium and offer more of a chance to lawn grass and other plants to survive. And obviously it is very true, because the grass and plant life is very alive and very appealing in the garden. But overall, that was an important day because it taught us a lot about what we were doing and why it was so important, and other attempts in the past to help with gardening and landscaping in College Station. In regards to further expansion and improvement on the garden and our project itself, we are just hoping to reach out to others and try to get more people to go out to the gardens and understand that it's a great place to study and appreciate, and the amount of history and culture that coincides with College Station in this area of Texas. Thus, we would want to tell our friends and family and people that we meet in class. I think if we could have done anything differently with the project, I think we could have coordinated which areas of the garden had already been looked through and deemed mostly weedless. I think sometimes people would go out at different times and find themselves looking for a small amount of weeds in an area that a person had already kind of gone through. So with that in mind, I think there was definitely some improvement to our project. But besides that, on further expansion, I think it's just to keep doing anything we can to help the landscaping and gardening areas of our college, and to just relay the word out and hope that people also want to come out and help and do everything they can to not only benefit the desired plant life of our college, but also help insects such as bees to be able to pollinate and spread more desirable and beneficial life and organisms. But all in all, that was our project, and despite the lack of data, I'm very proud of the work that we did and how well we communicated as a group. Thank you.